Hello and welcome to the second episode of Speak My Life. Before I start this program, I would like to thank each one of you who have been a huge support for us and giving us the good feedback of this program. Today, we have our Reverend Father Praveen OFM, who is a provincial of India, who will be sharing his life experience with us. We welcome dear Father Praveen for this show.
Thank you.
Father, as we start this program, so you have the questions in the three segments: your school life, and your youth life, and your priesthood life. So we have the three segments which will be given to you to speak the experience of these three segments. Firstly, starting with the school life, tell us something which you remember about your school lives and school days.
I come from a very simple, down to earth, and poor family, from a village which is quite remote, I would say. We are farmers, so we are closely in touch with the earth, with the land. Our school was done in our own village, and it was exciting, I would say. We had teachers from our own village. It was not easy to go to school because we always enjoyed work at home than school at home, than work in the school. So I remember how I was not a very good student, but I did fairly well here and there. And I had wonderful teachers to guide me, who admired me, who appreciated me, actually helped me to move forward in confidence. But I must acknowledge certain teachers who are simply amazing in my school life, who actually motivated me a long way to come as I am here today. So I am always grateful to my teachers who helped me in my school days. My school life was not dramatic, but it was certainly exciting. And I recognize that school life gave me a lot of education, but I hardly learned anything. Today I don't remember anything that I learned, but I remember all those moments which actually taught me good lessons for life. One or two lessons that I want to say from my school life. One is about friendship, to have good, healthy friendship with others. There are always people who can pull you to wrong friendship. I need to be very attentive to that. And it has happened to me as well. And I have been also in the wrong company, but I have not been lost, thankfully. The second lesson I learned is that time for education we need to dedicate more and more, because that is where our foundation is. And if we don't have good education, if we don't have good foundation, building up is a huge task. And that is what I remember about my childhood.
So, Father, the next question. This might be a pretty challenging for you during school days. Managing your school life, for example, you do something which is not applicable in the school premises and parents are being called. Have you had any experience like that, doing some naughty things in the school and parents had been called, saying that call your parents, we wanted to meet them?
The school life was exciting for that sake. Like, there was mixed experience of always parents in the school. That was a terrifying experience. I still remember how when I had 3 red lines in my marks card, I didn't want to show to my brother, who was my guardian at that time. And I would show him only on the last day when I had to give back my progress card. And he would be in the field plowing, and I would force him to sign that day so that he has no time to shout at me. But then he would come to the school voluntarily because he has seen the 3 red lines. And then he would advise the teachers, please treat them accordingly. Please treat the boy accordingly. Give him, beat him, he has to learn. But I didn't have too many of these experiences. But I remember one such experience when I was in high school. We were so enjoying working in the field that me and my friend, neighbor, we went to the school with so much of hesitation, and it rained, and we went to the school completely drenched in the rain. We didn't want to attend school that day, and purposely we didn't use our umbrella. And when we entered the school, we went to the headmaster's room and showed ourselves completely wet. And we said, sir, we can't sit in the classroom because we are completely wet. And he took his stick, gave us 2 shots and said, go home. And that was the best experience in my life those days. What we wanted to do was to be in the field, not in the classroom. Headmaster was the right person to help us that day.
So, Father, tell us something about your family, like brothers and sisters. And I know the younger sister is also become a religious, got into religious life. So how did this come to you, like, to become a priest, the aim to become a priest? Because you have so many platforms, because once you pass your 10th standard, you will definitely go into the fields of mechanical engineer, so many doctors and things like that. Why priesthood in your life?
I think I was an active to very active altar boy to begin with, and I was also president later of the altar boys. I was also president in the high school in my 10th standard. So I had already opportunities to be a kind of leader, and that was something natural in me those days. But I was not very confident, I was not very knowledgeable, I was not a bright student. That also put me down. But I think the atmosphere at home in our church was the greatest inspiration. To begin with, the daily prayer, the atmosphere of prayer life, church life in my family was indeed great. And regular church activities were still more motivating me into a religious life or a priestly life. And I still remember how when Father Jerry, my vocation promoter, came to meet me in my high school, I was the only one to volunteer to be a religious or a priest. All other Catholics refused to accept, and I was happy to do that. I still remember how when Father Jerry came to my home, I was on a mango tree plucking mangoes, and I see Father Jerry from far, and I recognize that, hey, he has come to call me and I must hurry up. Like Zacchaeus, I literally came down in a hurry, ran to my house, dressed up to welcome the friar as a vocation promoter. But I think the whole atmosphere of family, the prayer, the support, the church life, the priests who were there, they're always encouraging towards prayer, towards religious. And I still remember how I used to celebrate Mass as a boy at home, which is like many boys do it, and I did it as well. And I think today that is where I am, and I'm happy that all these motivated me. Was I really wanted to be a friar priest? Really not. I just wanted to be a priest. Jesuits were after us, and the Salesians were very much after us, even Redemptorists were after us. But the call to be a Franciscan came from nowhere, and I'm very happy today and very satisfied with this life.
So Father, my next question is, when you join, okay, everything is new, because I know how difficult it is to leave your family and then join the congregation or the friars. How did you take up, like, how challenging was it for you when you left your family and got into this life? How challenging it for you, like, how did you manage to leave them back and join this?
To begin with, I was a frog in the well. I never went out of my, let's say, home country. I never managed to travel anywhere. It was a great experience. I begin with a lot of cry and tears in my first day when I left home. My brother accompanied me in 92 when I reached Bangalore early morning. It was so cold that I never imagined that it can be so cold. And when I went to Pulmonar, believe me, I was like taken up by the number of young people who joined our religious life that day. And that year we were about 80 to 90 students from all over the country. And like, I had prayed to God that, God, I'm leaving a big family of 8, 9 children with parents and so many, but please, when I join a religious life, please bless me. And God blessed me with 80, 90 young boys. And I think that is how I took my life. And I realized today I was a frog in the well when I left home. Today I have traveled a bit and I have seen the world much more. And I must say I'm very grateful to God for having called me from that small village to this place today. And that is how I see my religious life, the growth and the travel and the journey as a religious as well. First of all, I must say that for me to be a Franciscan, to be a friar is more important than to be a priest. We are always told that priesthood is secondary to us. We are first and foremost friars, we are brothers. We are brown people basically, we are not white people. So that difference is already made in our formation, and I think I enjoyed that very experience and feeling of being a friar and priest than a priest. So therefore my life as a friar all these years, I would like to express it with the word happy, joyful. I always believed in this word joy being Franciscan. and I believe it now also, and I tell several people, whomever I met, there is joy in being a religious, there is joy in being particularly Franciscan, and I think that is what keeps me, that is what motivates me, and that is what I think I want to look forward to be a joyful person and to also spread the joy as much as possible. I recognize in this, as a friar and as a priest, we have wonderful opportunities to meet people, and I think people are the strength of my life as well. I feel grateful to God that God has brought several people in my life, and that is what motivates me again, the stories of the people, the individual stories, the family stories, the stories that people can share with you in confidence. And the ministry especially, maybe celebration of the mass, the confession, the liturgy, the blessing, the visits home. I mean, the way a priest, as a friar and as a priest, I get the opportunities enormous, and that is what keeps me going, I would say. And God certainly has His plan, I believe, in me, that I need to reach out. I should not lose touch with the people. I need to be with the people. I have gifts that God has given me, which I want to share with the people and with one and all. I tell the young people today, to be a religious and a priest is to choose an abnormal life, literally an abnormal life. Yes, there may be plenty of opportunities and options outside. We are choosing an abnormal life, to leave everything and to be a religious, to be in the monastery, to wear this particular dress and to go about as a person, a religious person, a public person. A life that I have chosen, I would say it's an abnormal life, but it is a joyful life as well.
For the now, the main point is now being a provincial. Okay, I know you have lot of responsibilities, duties to serve people one side and to take responsibility another side. And now being a provincial, have you ever thought of it that you would become a provincial, or you just thought that you would just be a friar?
I think my call is never to be a provincial, and that is what I am convinced of. I am never called to be a provincial. I am always called to be a friar, and I am very happy to be a friar. It happens to be a provincial. I always tell myself I happen to be a provincial. It's not my call, it's not my, perhaps it's not my duty as well. Provincial is being any administrator, and I don't think I am a very good administrator, but God has chosen me. I agree, I accept, and I try to do whatever I can as a provincial. But my call is to be a friar, to be a religious, and most of all, we don't remain for lifetime provincials. We have a term of 6 years. At that time, we do what we are supposed to do as a provincial. Yes, the basic duty is to be an administrator of the province, where you have so many houses, so many ministries, how you coordinate them, how you deal with the brothers, how you talk to them, how you keep them together, how you keep them motivated. I believe that being a provincial, being a leader, as a friar, as a religious, is to be a servant leader. Is not a boss, is not a manager, is not a CEO, is a servant leader. That is what is taught to us, and that's what I believe most of all, that I am a servant leader, and I am also a catalyst. I am not the one to do everything. I need to empower others. I need to create more leaders. That is what my aim in life is, that it is not me who is doing it. I help others to do it. I lead others. I encourage or I motivate others. Sometimes I fail. I totally recognize that as a provincial I cannot succeed in everything. Even though I have so many plans and desires, I cannot fulfill them, because it means a lot of other things as well. But at the same time, I am happy to be a provincial for this time being only, and this is my final year, and I am looking forward to finish it on time. And this has been an exciting period of time, because as a provincial I learned so many life lessons that otherwise I would not have learned, and so therefore I have become little more, let's say, experienced as a friar, as a human being, as a Christian as well.
Now the next question is, Father, you go home to the holidays, so to take some rest.
Yes.
Definitely. How do your mother will treat you? Does she treat you like, for example, when priests are coming home, usually what happens, everything is being special. Okay,
Yeah.
we keep things special, we keep them separate place, and we are so joyful that Father is coming. So when it comes to your mother or the brother and sister, when you go home, do they see you as a priest, or do they see you as my brother or my son in the house?
That is a very interesting question. To begin with, my mother is always waiting. I call her as a mother in waiting. The moment you tell her you are coming, even if you tell her after 1 month, she'll begin to wait from now, and she will begin to prepare in her mind what to do when son comes. It's not that I get a special treatment, it's just that I stay away, and when I go, I get that treatment like any other brother or sister who comes as well. But yes, I do believe and I do experience that mother has a special love for me because I'm a friar and I'm a religious and I'm a priest, and so she naturally loves me for that sake. But I don't think she keeps me on the top. She has a decent love, very good respect for me, and she naturally prepares wonderful dishes for me, and naturally homemade dishes I enjoy. The only thing I ask her is always to prepare for me ganji. That's what I like most, and some chutney. That is my favorite, and that is the only thing I enjoy at home. And I tell her not to trouble herself. Even with regard to my brothers and sisters, they do have a appreciation, respect for me. But I am their brother. Everyone calls me by name, so nobody calls me father, come bless me and all. It doesn't work. But there is a joy, there is an expectation, there is a regard, respect and love. But I am part and parcel of life. Unfortunately, I don't get as many holidays as I want to, at least in these days as a provincial. Hardly any days I get, and so I truly miss my home holidays. But I want to make it up in the days to come as well. But I am treated more of a son, more of a brother, more of an uncle at home, and my nephews tell me that when you come home, believe me, you are not a priest, you are a brother, or you are an uncle, you are a son. So don't behave yourself as a priest, don't show off. So get to your family, behave yourself like that. So I enjoy that as well, and I think I am made to feel at home with these interactions.
Father, tell us something about your journey of life in Israel. You were there for 3 years and more. So you take people on a ride of to Jerusalem and the Holy Lands. Tell us something about that as well.
I think that is the best part of my life. I don't know why God chose me to go there, but I believe He had a special plan. I studied for 4 years. I did a master's in Bible. I must honestly accept that I didn't do the best way possible. I could have done always better, but that is a secondary question. The very fact of staying, living in Holy Land, visiting these places made all the difference in my life. It's not that I've become a saint, not at all. I've recognized that I'm more of a sinful man, sinner than anything else. But this place is beautiful. This place is touching, and it's unbelievable place for me that I could stay there for 4 years is something that I never ever dreamt even. But God made it to happen to me, and that's what I believe in my life as well. That the Lord grants you opportunities and favors that you can never ever expect. What I enjoyed most, more than 4 years study also, is to take people there, groups, pilgrims, and that gave me a totally different idea about life, about Bible, about my faith, about people, the way I had to lead them, guide them, show them places. But it was more of a faith sharing. It was not a business trip. It was always about how do I make my faith clear to them. It's not about anything else, I believed, and therefore I grew in my own faith and I grew in my own self-knowledge. Meanwhile, I'm sure people also enjoyed the guiding. I get good feedback, I had a good demand, and then this responsibility came, so I had to give up for the last 5 years. I had no groups, and with pandemic, I'm sorry for all the people in the world that no pilgrims can go to Israel now because of the pandemic. But time will come back, normal life will come back, and one day, God willing, I want to be a pilgrim again.
The next question is, as we end, what is that one thing you want to tell all our youth who is waiting off the camera, who is watching the show?
My favorite saying is, God makes all things possible, and I want to tell the young people, the children growing, and to all the other people who are making it possible to watch this is, so you believe in yourself, you believe in God, God makes things possible. And it has been my personal experience, and it simply works, and it works miracles. So believe in yourself, believe in God, and God makes all things possible for you and me.
Okay, the last segment now is, it's like a little fun segment. I ask you a question, and you just have to say yes or no, only this.
Okay.
So the first question, Father, have gone missed to the chapel in his novitiate times, saying a silly reason that he is not well.
Yes.
Okay. So next question. Father likes non-veg more than the veg.
Yes, I must say.
Okay. So father likes to be around with people than being lonely at a place.
Yes.
So our Father Praveen have decided to turn back, to leave the priesthood and just turn back and take care of his family.
No, not really.
So I would like to thank Father Praveen OFM who was with us. I know with his busy schedule, he fixed his dates to come over for the show and share his experience of his life. Thank you so much, Father, for being with us. I hope you had also a little break time,
Yes.
little, sharing experience of the people. I think, most of the people who heard it, maybe I think they will do a good, initiative of their own lives. So thank you so much for being with us, Father, and God bless you, Father.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, my dear viewers, I think we have been inspired of this beautiful person who we heard all this while, his way of experience of his own life. I think each one of you who heard this episode, I think you might be inspired a bit of it, and I think we should decide ourselves what we have to become and what we aim for is very important in our lives.
Please subscribe to this channel, but before subscribing, watch it, subscribe it, and please share the link with others, share the joy of this episode. Thank you.